So I've heard from a lot of folks that, like, they do, and I do appreciate you having a forum like this too. I work in the community. I work for 2 nonprofits on Willie Street, and I mean, like, this is the first time I've heard of a forum, and looking it around, and I was here from the beginning, and it's less than 10% of the folks who showed up here is a person of color. And I mean, like, what I'm curious about is, what are you doing to actually get folks out to have an open dialogue with you? And another thing is, the 2 gentlemen that were here earlier, I felt like you were being really dismissive to them. And when somebody in a minority, like when a minority speaks up and you're dismissive of them, it kind of shows everyone else that, like, you know, maybe I don't want to talk to you because you might be that way to me too. And it doesn't have to be a person of color, because when this lady right here was talking about how you dismiss kind of YGB because they use swear words, right? I think
I was talking about the culmination of where it got to the point where it wasn't protected speech.
And so we disregard their message because it wasn't a protected speech?
No, I said I can't disregard that dropping F-bombs in a private mall is not protected speech. That was my point.
But I don't think throughout this entire conversation, I didn't hear anything until Eric showed up about kind of what YGB's message was. It was more of like, their action was wrong, their action was wrong, their action was wrong. But what was the actual message that led to acting wrong? And that's what I'm more curious about, is like open dialogue. I don't see a lot of participation of the people of color that I actually work with, who actually do deal with the police on a daily basis. And I don't see them in here. And then when they show up in here and they're dismissed, I mean, like, I don't blame them for not coming here.
Well, I have to say, to be honest with you, is that because we have a limited time, and they had vented and we're going into personal anecdotes, I try to cut them a little bit slack, but I also want to be able to
But 5 minutes ago, you just told Eric that a part of why this forum exists is for people to vent, for you to listen.
That was very clear. I got that message loud and clear.
And I mean, like, to be quite honest, because, yeah, I mean, Eric wasn't here before, but I felt like, kind of like, to be quite blunt, I was thinking like, wow, I really hate this guy because of the way you treated some of these folks. Well, but you were a little bit more civil when he walked through that door.
That's your perception and that's your opinion.
And I am, I mean, like, I am one of your constituents. And to dismiss me because I am one person who is speaking up. But when you do that, I don't think anyone else is going to line up behind me to actually talk about it. Because of the way you do talk to people. It's very condescending.
Well, I'm sorry that that was the impression I gave. I did not intend that to be the case. I was just trying to create a little bit of a decorum so that more people could contribute to the response. And if that was an unintended byproduct that you perceived from me, I do apologize to you and to them and to the audience. That was not my intent.
And one of my biggest criticisms from just seeing you tonight is kind of like, I'm sorry, it's just...
Well, I have to tell you one thing. Since you were here from the outset, I should tell you, I'm not polished. I'm likely to be sort of contentious. And that is a part of me. I don't mean it to be disrespectful. But I also am pretty determined in my resolve to what I think I have to do for this city. And that means representing everyone. And to the extent that the neighborhoods continually come up in the issue bin, whether people like me or hate me is really inconsequential in the end of the day. That's not the legacy I'm going to leave. The legacy I'm going to leave is that all of our people, as a matter of constitutional rights, have the fullest understanding and appreciation for equal protection of the laws, which means the police are going to be in all the neighborhoods.
And I'm not saying for you to get out. I mean, like, here's the thing is that earlier, I'm sorry, I'm like blanking right now because I'm so emotional just from this forum. Because I mean, like, you know, I don't think you're here to Because the first lady who spoke said that you were over appeasing YGB and their demands. I don't think you should appease anybody. I think you should listen to them. I think you should actually hear what they're saying and then take some concrete steps. I don't really care if you agree with them. I want to see you do something to solve the actual problem that they're trying to get at. And that's what pisses me off, is I feel like this forum is just kind of propaganda to let people know that, oh, you know, I am a good person, to make people like you, but you're not actually doing anything on the ground that helps the people, the victims. I mean, like, I've been a victim of domestic violence. I've been run over by a car, and you know what the police officer told me? You need to up and move out of this neighborhood. And my neighbors have been there. It was Carling, right next to Allied. And my neighbors had been there for 7 years. I was fortunate enough to get the jobs that I do have, to uproot myself from there. But my neighbors had been there for 7 years. Some people don't have that luxury to uproot themselves out of neighborhoods that we do not focus on. And I think I'm pretty sure, like, the police department is a part of the problem. And I would like to see something change, not to hear you saying you agree with me or you agree with our neighbors. Some actual concrete, tangible things that can work for the community.
I think you and I are going to have to agree to disagree in this, because I think I am doing just that. I think I'm serving our community by upping the ante of those neighborhoods that are being served with officers to be more like social workers with a badge. I think that's the way we're at our best relationally. And I'm sorry that you don't agree with that tack, but that is going to be the tack moving forward.
But you're not social workers with a badge.
No, we're not. We're cops. And I gotta go.
How can you address the issue if you don't know and you can't speak to how you're playing a role in the issue?
All I will say is that I have been hearing from a lot of constituents in a lot of neighborhoods, and I feel welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
People who show up to the forums are wealthy white privileged folks.